Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the middle of what they call a bomb cyclone nor'easter, and we were told to keep off the streets. So here I am at home recording an audio episode. Not happy about it. Not happy at all. But then again, we all can't get what we want, can we? So we do what we can. And quite frankly, be happy I even posted an episode. This is a free podcast. What are you getting upset about? You can't be angry. I charge you nothing for this. If anything, it takes up more of my time than yours. You can just choose not to listen. But I hope you listen. I hope you do. I hope you do. Anyway, it's been a week. It has been a week. As the storm ravages New York, apparently, I haven't been outside. I just know what the news tells me. The news tells me this storm's going to be bad. We can get anywhere, and CNN reported this, anywhere from 0 to 16 inches of snow. They don't know. They don't know. They have facts. No, they don't. They have charts. They have numbers, analytics. But they don't know. Because we're right on that borderline, apparently. Right on the borderline. Apparently, it's a good Madonna song. I never heard it. Anyway. Here we are, looking at another week in this country. Another week in a world inches away from World War III. Russia's about to invade Ukraine, we think. Well, according to Ukraine, no. They don't think an invasion's coming. America does, though. America pulled out everyone from the embassies. They've been warning American tourists. But Ukraine keeps saying, stop doing that. You're being alarmist. We see no indication that there's going to be an invasion. Joe Biden tried calling the Ukraine president and saying, hey, there's going to be an invasion. And the Ukraine president said, not really. There's no evidence. Well, my intelligence, it doesn't matter your intelligence. Well, we've got good intelligence. And considering we're right next to Russia, we might know if there's an invasion coming. Maybe a deal's getting worked out. We do know China supports Russia in this maneuver. So, well, there we go. We spent all this time giving China economic power. And now they're going to use that against us and tag teaming with our Cold War enemy, Russia. I think Russia's only doing this because they think Biden's a little, bit of a pussy. Ever since the Afghanistan withdrawal, which I supported, people think he's soft. Most people think he's soft or senile or technically dead. Who knows? But I know what Russia thinks. Russia don't give a shit. Russia's gonna do what are Russia gonna do? Maybe it's a power play. Maybe it's that dare the world to stop you kind of thing. Just trolling. Just fucking around. Vladimir Putin feels like a troll. And as we said last week, we need a troll president to rise up. We need our equivalent of a troll. And that's where 50 Cent comes in. Only one that can stop him, really. What do I know? I'm just a guy hiding from a snowstorm in his home. But that's how it works, Whenever there's a catastrophe, tell everyone to stay home. It works. Because everyone likes being home for the most part. Then again, home is an abstract concept. Home. What is a home? You want to get into that philosophical question? I don't think you want to. It's not fun for anyone. It truly isn't. There's only one man I ever knew who had a home, a true home, a home that would shit on everyone else's, a home where comfort was the real luxury. And that was Hugh Hefner. What a home. What a legacy. A man with that many women around all the time. I never really saw the attraction of that, though. Because that just feels like all those women eventually, their periods would sync up. It's just science. And it could drive a man crazy. All of them angry at the same time does not sound fun. But apparently it wasn't fun at his home. Apparently there's a lot of stuff going on at his home, according to the New York Post. From an article I will read. Playboy bunnies blast predator Hugh Hefner's bestiality, cult sex, and worse. When betting buxom bunnies became too boring for Playboy baron Hugh Hefner, he allegedly moved on to dogs. Yes, what I just said was Hugh Hefner was fucking dogs. Allegedly, according to the New York Post. I'm not a journalist, I don't know this stuff. Has purported penchant for bestiality is one of the explosive claims made in the forthcoming A&E documentary Secrets of Playboy, out Monday. The damning 10-part series unmasked the once heralded late mogul who until now has been revered as a godlike stud, slinking around his estate in silk pajamas and a smoke jacket to reveal the ugly truth behind the man who built his sex empire on the backs of vulnerable women. Why do I feel like that wasn't his legacy before? I mean, it kind of is. It kind of always was. I never thought these women were being uplifted. They always seem to be, taken advantage of. Hey, show people your titties. You sure have? Yeah, show me titties. And you always knew that some of these girls were like from broken homes, terrible past, heavy drug use. But it was like, yeah, show me titties. Apparently, for one of these women, who was 19 when she first met him, he introduced me to drugs. I never had a drink or a drug before going up to the Playboy Mansion. First night I was there, he handed me champagne and the drugs came later. And I was underage. Well, that's just it, isn't it? What is it with rich men that go after underage women? I would assume if you're rich, you can get a woman of any age. There would be no need for an underage woman. Or maybe women who are older kind of see through it. They kind of see through the whole pajama thing. A man who spends his life in pajamas, you gotta question that. Not even a pair of sweats? Not even a basketball jersey or basketball shorts? Just silk pajamas? I've only worn silk once, and I didn't find it all that nice. It's too soft of a material. I like my materials to feel like materials. I don't like to feel like I'm slinking around. I like my shirts to feel like cotton, baby. Like that rough cotton that sometimes hurts your nipples when it rubs too hard against it. That's the kind of fabric I'm looking for. I want my clothes to know it's clothes and for me to know I'm wearing them. I don't want to feel free when I'm wearing clothes. The whole point is to feel like you have something on. That's why I never understood the whole no underwear thing. Protect your boys. But this gets darker. This gets darker. I want to get to the part where he's banging dogs. Come on, get to the part where he's banging dogs. Well, there are already orgies. We'll get to that. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was an unending supply of cocaine, which, I mean, come on. That comes with the job, doesn't it? If you are going to exploit women, you have to have cocaine. Cocaine has been the most exploitive drug I've ever seen. People say heroin, but when you're a heroin addict, you're asleep most of the time. So you can't really offer anything other than naps. But when you're on cocaine, you're pretty much down for anything. I walked in on him with my dog. I said, "What are you doing?" I was shocked. She said he made it seem like he was just a one-time thing and that he was just goofing off. But I never left him alone, my dog, again. Wow. So that's it? Okay, I mean, they don't get into detail, but just the idea of him banging a dog's a little interesting. Because, like, at this point, you can get any woman you want. Why go to dogs? Like, is that what happens with people with money? Jeffrey Epstein, you know what I mean? Prince Andrew, all these guys. You have a bunch of money. You have a lot of money. You can do anything you want. So you go, fuck it. I can buy the world if I wanted to. So I'm going to fuck a dog. I'm going to fuck a child. I don't understand that. At what point of rich do you get there? Like, is that like after the first 100 million? 200 million? 300 million? Like, what do you think is the limit of rich you have to be to get in some scary shit? That's a question. I think everyone should ask themselves, what's the amount of money do you think you would lose yourself for? And some people, it might be a little cheap because there are some slime balls out there. They'll do it for free. They're all over Tinder. They're all over Reddit. You can find them. But is it 100 million? I don't know. I think if I'm going to fully lose who I am and all morals, I have to have billions of dollars. Because at that point, I'm unstoppable. When you're a billionaire, you're legitimately unstoppable. You're a superhero. You're a supervillain at that point. You know what I mean? You're Lex Luthor. You can do whatever you want. You can buy anything you want. You can buy an island if you want. See, that's why, you know, when you look at the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, you go, a man owned an island and had a temple on it. Was that not a weird thing to anybody? Did no one go, why does he have a temple? And it calls it an Israeli flag. Can't be intelligence, right? It's a little bizarre. Very bizarre. If someone, well, let's start here. If someone invited me to their private island, I'm already naturally suspect. Why do you have a private island? What are you doing on that private island? It needs to be kept away from everyone. Because the only people I know had private islands was like Pablo Escobar and stuff like that. And they were doing drug runs. At least people were employed for those drug runs, so it's technically an enterprise. But I don't know if these women were getting paid by Jeffrey Epstein for all this work. I don't know if he was running a true empire or a true business. Hugh Hefner, I don't know if he owned an island, but he had a whole house dedicated to just sex. It's a little weird. It's a little bizarre. But we thought nothing of it. Because to us, it was just like going to the Playboy Mansion for a dude was a huge thing. I'm going to go to Playboy Mansion one day and I'm going to see some hot chicks. And you always assume you would get in the grotto because what happens in the grotto stays in the grotto. And it's like, yeah, but that's kind of weird too. Like, why is that rule even there? Why not talk about what happened in the grotto? What happened in there? Usually some fucked up shit, as we're learning now. Apparently, Hugh Hefner also asked the star of the movie Deep Throat to blow a dog for his amusement. And he drugged her, apparently, allegedly, according to this article, and made her do that. At what point do you want to see a girl blow a dog? It's like when people tell me, oh, I watched this video of a girl blowing a horse. Why would you do that? What part of you needs that? I've never needed that. Then again, I've never been a big porn person. I find it to be a bit much. I find porn to be funny, really. The whole idea of sex is funny to me, really. Like, that's really it. A part of a person goes into another person. That's weird. That's not to say I haven't engaged in it. But I still laugh a little bit. I do. We all should. Because it's kind of funny. But Hugh Hefner was banging dogs. I never thought that would be a thing. The drugging of women, yeah, that makes sense. And it's sad that makes sense to me. That I expected it to be that way. I expected it to happen. But it did. But the dogs. But I wonder now, what kind of dog was he looking for? Was there a type of dog that when he looked at a dog, he went, that's the kind of dog I want to bang? Was he a golden retriever kind of guy? Was he into the pugs? I mean, definitely golden retrievers if you look at the women he was with. All those blondes. That's definitely golden retriever territory. He's definitely into that. Bar none. But I wonder at what level of success and power do you get to that you just lose your shit and all darkness comes out that you can't contain. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. Here was a guy who was revered as someone, most people thought was sex positive, and he was allowing women to express themselves in a sexual way. But like Joss Whedon, like most men who claim to be feminists, they deep down are assholes and jerks. A lot of them use that to get close to women so they can, snake their way in. Oh, I'm not like the other guys. I'm a feminist. I don't think men can be feminists, to be honest with you. I think feminist should only be for women. I think that's a term that should only be for women. Like, this little weird when a man goes, I'm a feminist. Like, you believe in equal rights. Let's start there. Let's start there. Now, how you use that belief for equal rights is a whole different story in itself. You using it to get pussy? Or are you using it to, be a legitimate dude? Most of the time I find guys who have to declare they're pro-equal rights are using it to get chicks. I don't think I ever met a man, truly, that was 100% down for equal rights that didn't have a little scumbag in him. I probably only know 4 men like that who weren't that. But the rest of them, I'm pretty sure they're playing a gimmick. And it's not wrong to play a gimmick, really. Everyone's got the game. Everyone's got their gimmick they're playing. We all got our mask that we wear. Outward in public. I know people who are like, I totally support critical race theory. I think critical race theory should be taught in every school. In private, they're like, this is some bullshit. Get over it. Slavery was a long time ago. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. But we're all putting on facades. That's the nature of America. It's the nature of human existence. Everyone's playing a gimmick. And Hugh Hefner played the greatest gimmick. Not the greatest gimmick, really. I mean, see, that's another thing. It's like, this is the same way I feel about Harvey Weinstein. It's like, how could you allow this to continue for years and not say anything? I'm talking about people on the outside who knew. How did we just condone that this existed? This idea of a man who lives with a bunch of women, and they weren't the brightest bulbs, if we're being honest. We saw those interviews. We saw the reality shows. They weren't the brightest bulbs. Clearly, there's a manipulation factor there. But he's an old man. He's a cute little old man with all his women. Look at him in his little smoking jacket. It diffused everything. He's a feeble man. He could never. But it's not about necessarily being muscular. It's not about necessarily being a big, strong dude. Sometimes you can fuck with someone's mind with just the things you say to them or the behavior you enact on them. And that's the thing, like, we're finding all this stuff out about Hef now. He's dead. Okay, I think there was probably a legitimate concern that if you said it out loud while he was alive, he had people who can make that shit disappear. This is what I'm learning more and more about rich and powerful people, that it's not necessarily this idea of Illuminati and assassins. It's the simple just, I'm going to dirty your name in the press and ruin your credibility. They have that kind of power on people. So you fear to lose that credibility. You fear to lose, how people look at you. Because think about it, like when you're a person, right? Like, think of yourself. You're a person. You've done everything in your life to be the best person you can be. But then someone spreads this lie about you, but not just a lie. It's something that's in every newspaper, every media outlet to defame you, to ruin your good name. Imagine what that would feel like. Imagine like having nowhere to turn because no one would believe you anyway. Because the narrative they're spinning is so good. That's the nature of spin. And we live with it every day. Like, you always hear these news stories about how, oh, the Biden camp leaked this about Kamala. It's like the fact that those news stories even get written, that we know people leak things about one another. And we accept it as part of the normal news narrative is a little concerning. It's very concerning. We've kind of allowed the shuckster to shuckster in public, but without any consequence. The manipulators now get away with whatever they want because we've accepted that the manipulators do what they do. No good. No good. We know that guys like Joe Manchin, or by when they're negotiating with each other, they're throwing things in the news to try to pressure each other into voting for things or to do things they want. And these are people we're supposed to respect. People who run our government, and they're doing this. So you best damn know a guy like Hugh Hefner who listen, I wouldn't be surprised if he had recorded every engagement he had with these women. Could use that against them at any time and go, well, I have a video of her doing this. So we can ruin her reputation with that. But no one once got a video of him fucking a dog, which I find to be peculiar. If I knew there was a man engaging in bestiality who was a rich and powerful man and needed to be stopped, that's the first thing I'm getting a video of. In fact, I'm going to push him into it, going, hey, look at that dog. That dog's cute. Chihuahua, I know it's not normally your type, but maybe you're banging a little bit. Get that on video. Expose him. Sucks to be the dog. You know, the dog's got to take one for the team. But in the long run, justice, right? What are you willing to sacrifice for justice? That's a good question. Trade-offs. Life's about trade-offs. Life's about trade-offs. An icon is being torn down because rightfully so he should be. But that's a problem with us in general. We have idolatry. You know, we have this belief that there are some things that are holier than thou and can't be touched. Like how nerds have been treating this Boba Fett situation. People are crying about this Boba Fett series. And that Boba Fett is not the character they thought he was. And nothing in the show is illustrating to them the Boba Fett they know. Though they're basing this solely on 2 scenes from the original trilogy. 3 or 4 being, gracious about it. And a bunch of shit they imagined he could do. I'm sorry, Boba Fett is not the John Wick you imagined him to be when you were playing with your toys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But Boba Fett was never a good character anyway. He had a cool costume, that's it. He wasn't even that interesting. He showed up, did a thing, and that was it. When he was thrown into the Sarlacc pit in the end of beginning of Return of the Jedi, when he met his end there, I went, oh, that's everything I need to know about Boba Fett. I wasn't clinging to more Boba Fett. Didn't need it. But apparently, people felt he was wrong, so now he's got a TV show. Now everyone's all hyped about Boba Fett again. And for years, they just kept pushing this narrative about Boba Fett, how cool and badass he was. But he was just a cool costume. So now that everyone's getting a chance to see the Boba Fett story expanded and see what he really is, they're not that happy. It didn't go the way you imagined it would, huh? Your childhood was sullied. How dare Disney and Lucasfilm do that to you? But the truth is, if you're over a certain age watching Boba Fett and you feel that strongly and you feel like it's ruining your childhood, you've got bigger problems. you've got huge problems. It's bad for you. You're down bad. You know, we shouldn't have ever gotten a Boba Fett series in the first place. We shouldn't have an expanded universe for Star Wars. It was 6 movies. We were good. Story told. Done. Nothing needed expanding. We didn't need the Clone Wars cartoon. We didn't need Rebels. You don't need expanded universes. Like, Waddle does not need his own fucking series. Who cares about Waddle? No one cares. But in this era of nostalgia, everyone thinks we need to know the backstory to every character we've ever seen. Only because deep down they want to keep expanding the franchises they love so they never end. And they don't want franchises to end because they don't want their childhood to end. And they don't want their childhood to end because they're so fucking scared of death, they don't want life to end. So everything is just my childhood 100%. All the time. The warm blanket of nostalgia. So happy I can see Ghostbusters, The Matrix, and fucking Spider-Man all in theaters again. Fantastic. Things should end. Stories should end. Franchises should end. But we don't want anything to end anymore. Because we're so utterly scared that life ends. And our childhood does have to end. Being a kid was cool. It was fun. You can't keep it going in your 30s and your 40s. It's done. You have to grow up. Not saying you can't enjoy the content if you enjoy it, but look at it for what it is. Just candy. It's just candy from your childhood you used to like. To take it any more serious than that, you've got mental problems. I stepped away. I'm done. I no longer care about these franchises anymore. They were fun when I was a kid and I was caring about them and I would engage in debates. But you know what you could be doing with that time? Spending time with your family, working on your own creative endeavors, you know, going outside, meeting new people, having experiences. You know, after I finished watching Endgame at theaters, I sat there and went, I dedicated 10 years to this. I'm done. This was fun. I had a lot of fun. I got what I needed. I'm moving on. I saw Spider-Man Far From Home the other day. It was okay. It was cool. But without Toby and without fucking Andrew Garfield, it means nothing. It's a nostalgia blanket. It has no worth other than to be a nostalgia blanket. All of it's built on it. I don't think the movie does anything for Tom Holland, really. And even the ending of it, spoilers, where he gives up the knowledge of him being Spider-Man, goes, I don't want anyone to remember, even my loved ones. And then he sees his girlfriend MJ again. She doesn't remember who he is. I know she's going to remember at some point. There are no stakes to it because this shit doesn't end. It just continues and it doesn't end. Characters end, but universes stay alive for fucking ever. And at some point, it's like, I can't keep up with all of it. It's why I stopped reading comic books. I was realizing how much I was spending a month. I'm like, this is obscene to keep up with this fucking universe. And then I have to read other things to understand the concepts of certain things and the issues I want to read? Fuck that. Fuck all this nerd shit. The nerds should have never won. They should have never won. Grown-ups should have won. I remember in the 90s, there was this idea that, oh, you know, those grown-ups are miserable because they lost their childhood. No, they fucking grew up. There were bigger things going on. Like right now, we're on the edge of World War III and people are bitching about Boba Fett. We've got a government that can't fucking function, but we're bitching about Boba Fett. It's why we can't get grown-up things done. It's why the older crowd looks down on the millennials, because they can't get shit done. People will say, oh, well, they gave us a bad economy. That's fair. But when it comes to like politics, our millennial politicians aren't doing any better. AOC's already sucked up to the Democratic Party. She's already become what they wanted her to be. Just someone who yells a lot on Twitter and gets nothing done. That's it. When you get to the point of being an adult and you see how the game is played, it's over. It's time to let go of the childish dream. Like, we keep looking at Greta Thunberg and all these other fucking young kids. Like, oh, they know what's up. You know, these kids really got it together. They don't. Because they have no stakes in anything. Their parents are still paying for them to go to protest. There are no stakes for them. Oh, but they're the future. Are they? Because my generation was once the future, and I saw the future we fucking made. It ain't turned out that great. We're a more divisive group of people than we've ever been in the history of this country, sadly. That's what it feels like. Technology destroyed us. Innovation destroyed us. We all thought that we were so fucking smart. And we understood the internet and we understood how things should go. That the second we were given the fucking wheel, we didn't know how to drive. Still don't know how to drive. It's over, man. It's time to grow up. It's time to let it go. These franchises don't belong to you. They're products. And they're open about how they do these products. Like, oh, if we gotta watch this movie, then you gotta watch this series and make sure to spend money on this thing. And you gotta, it's like, come on now. Wake the fuck up. You don't need this many Star Wars products. You don't need that many Marvel movies. Yeah, they're good. They're fine for what they are, but then we talk about how they need to win Oscars. Like, they don't. I've never watched a Marvel movie have as much detail as a David Fincher film, ever. I've never seen one as good as a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Never. There's never been one that good. Sorry. It's like people who go to Disney World still. When they're adults and no children, you're a pedophile. You're kind of a pedophile. Who are you there for? We've turned childhood into like this stunted thing that goes on fucking forever, and it's depressing. It's fucking sad. It's time to let it go, man. It's time to grow the fuck up. Things end, and they should. Life ends, and it should. Living forever doesn't fucking sound as great as you think it does. Because at some point, what are the stakes then? If you know you're going to live forever, why do anything? Why accomplish anything? At some point, you gotta go. Childhood is cool because it's such a short amount of time and you're able to glorify it, even though you tend to wipe away all the mistakes of it because you don't want to accept the abuse you dealt with as a child, where it was physical or emotional or mental. You tend to gloss over those things a little bit for that little sense of, oh, remember when I watched Ghostbusters for the first time? It's never going to be good as that. A lot of these nostalgia acts, like drug addicts, I know a few. You know, you're never going to get as good as the first high. It never gets that good again. It's never as good as your first drink. You're always chasing that. And that's what you're chasing with all this fucking product. You're chasing that first time you watched Star Wars on a big screen. Or the first time you saw Spider-Man on the big screen. It's done, man. Enjoy it for what it is. Just more. It's McDonald's. And that's okay. McDonald's is cool. It's a once in a while thing. You shouldn't be an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. You might want to talk to a doctor, cardiologist, something like that. Gotta let it go, bro. And here's the thing, like, maybe it's not so much, franchises that should end, even though they think they should. Maybe it's the people who need to change and how they engage in it. It doesn't belong to you. You don't own it. We ran George Lucas out of town for what? For what? I didn't like how 1, 2, and 3 came out. That's not my Star Wars. Well, motherfucker, it's his Star Wars. So there's that. But we kicked him out. We got rid of him. And now look what we got stuck with. Some bullshit. Last Jedi, to me, really opened my eyes. Like, I don't care about this anymore. Because it wasn't what Last Jedi did, necessarily, and like the themes of subversion and all that. It was just the discussion around it that was what did it to me. People weren't allowed to not like it because then you were painted as a fanboy, which I found to be a little weird. Because there were legitimate film criticisms of it that people who loved that film didn't listen to. Because what I noticed in today's day and age is not necessarily about the craftsmanship, it's about what is it saying. And a movie can say something, but does it say it well? There's a difference. There's a difference. Matrix 4. I love it as a piece of art, but not a Matrix film. You know what I mean? I like it as its own thing. It's the creator commenting on what people didn't understand about the Matrix trilogy, though I would argue we all knew it was a love story. It was painfully obvious. A lot of the stuff she's upset that we didn't get was painfully obvious. It just wasn't interesting to talk about. The Trinity-Neo relationship was so solid, there was no new grounds of debate. That's why all the philosophical stuff took over, because there was stuff to debate there. What I do love about Matrix 4 is the discussion around it. And I say love sarcastically. Because everyone points out, you know, if you haven't watched it, then you watch that and come back. But there's essentially in Matrix 4, Neo's in the Matrix again, but he's a game designer who developed the Matrix as a video game series. So now in part 4, they're making him make, metaphorically, or whatever you want to call it, or actually even literally, a Matrix Part 4 video game. And they're having this, you know, this group of people come in and talk about what did the Matrix mean. And of course, the fat white nerd is like, we need bullet time and crazy action. And all the dudes are like, we need to like mess with people's minds. And then you have the women who come in going, oh no, it was about crypto fascism. And we can't do too much violence. That's off brand for the company. And people only focused on the white nerd stuff. No one focused on how it made fun of everyone else in the diversity space, in the liberal space. It attacked everyone for not understanding Matrix. Like, there was even one guy going, you know, I didn't appreciate the Matrix when it first came out. I don't like my games to be too, you know, intelligent. I want my games to be dumb. And you know what? I respect that guy. He's honest. He is the most self-aware out of all of them because he knows what he wants. Everyone else is trying to sell a facade of what they think things are. It's why art discussions are really boring, because everything is quote unquote timely. But the problem with timely is it's not timeless. You know, timeless means you can play that at any time and it's true. But if you're making something timely for the era it exists in, it becomes a historical piece and it kind of limits its replay value. You can't really rewatch that over and over. But where something's timeless and hits on the things that all humans feel throughout time and throughout circumstance, those are the real timeless pieces of art. It's why the original Matrix works still, because it's a movie about, well, here I am doing what they said in Matrix 4. I'm saying what it's about, even though I'm not the creator of it. It's about fighting systems. It's about believing in yourself to fight for equality for the people around you. It's about destroying rigid thinking and opening up nuanced thinking, which none of us took away from Matrix 1, apparently. None of us took that away at all. Matrix 4 has great moments where there's like these really cute little robots where it's almost Lana going, oh, well, there you go, Warner Bros. Those toys you wanted me to make, well, there you go. You got your toys. It starts to look very Star Warsy at moments. It's kind of funny. But, you know, she went in there not making a Matrix 4. She went in there making art therapy and letting people know this is what you did to me. Like, I was judged by this trilogy for the rest of my career and never got to do anything else. Well, you know what? Here you go. She made Speed Racer, a dope-ass film. No one went to go see it. No one wanted Speed Racer. They made Cloud Atlas, fire film. No one wanted to go see it. They made Jupiter Ascending. But people didn't give them another chance at the apple again. They didn't give another bite of the apple. People were fine with the Matrix. They wanted more Matrix. So she basically burned down the Matrix and Matrix 4. It was beautiful. But once again, that movie attacks nostalgia in a way. And I was happy about that. Now, do I think it makes the Matrix trilogy any better? No. But it was fun to have someone who made it go back and go, this is how I feel about it. And I'm going to burn it down in front of you. And you don't have to watch Matrix 4 to appreciate the original trilogy. That's the beauty of it. It's so outside of it that you don't need it. What it does get across is that we are so addicted to feeling good. And that is a problem. You can't feel good all the time. You can't. You can't feel at home or under the warm blanket. You cannot give into nostalgia all the time. But if your entire life is pop culture and the things you loved growing up, you have got to figure out something else. You have got to find something else to do. Because that's not an existence. That's stagnation. You don't make new stuff by staying in nostalgia. You don't. And it's a shame because, one would say, why can't there be balance? But no one's able to balance it. We're a nation of addicts that just want to feel good. All we do is what makes us feel good. We never do what we should do for the betterment of society. We never look at one another and go, I'm going to stand up for this person, We don't do that. Well, yeah. That's what I took away from all this Book of Boba Fett bullshit. It's everyone mad they didn't get what they wanted. And you know what? Like, kudos to the creators of the show. They're not bowing to anybody. They're doing whatever the hell they want still. And they know people are going to watch. And they know they're not going to unsubscribe to Disney Plus because it has all the other stuff they want. That's the beauty of being Disney. You can have lost leaders that experiment. You can get away with just about anything if you want to. And that's the goodness of it. That's the goodness of it. That's what you really want is new IP that's inspired by the old IP. You want to create new things for the next generation so they can feel, this belongs to me. Tradition is that's another thing. We don't even agree on traditions because 4th of July now you can no longer really celebrate because people feel some type of way if you say happy 4th of July. Oh, America's terrible and it was started, on slavery and it's fucking horrible. Yeah, but America got past that and became a better nation. Not great, but it became better. Can't celebrate Christopher Columbus Day because he didn't discover America. But I get why Italians respect that dude. He did some discovering, some fucking massacring, but he did some discovering apparently. People would say you can't discover something that was already there and had people on it. Well, did the Italians know that? Did they know that was there? No. So for them, it's a big deal. If he doesn't come to America, they don't come to America. So for them, that's how they view it. I don't celebrate Columbus Day. And I sure as hell ain't gonna celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day either. I don't like celebrating any holidays. I find them all dumb. That's why I don't like statues either. Tear them all down. We don't need statues. We don't need any of this celebration. Holidays. Christmas is the only one I really fucks with. I don't even like my own birthday. I hate my birthday. 34 years of birthdays. It's I'm over it. I'm done. It needs to be reminded. I feel like birthdays are just a reminder of your origin story over and over. I don't want to be reminded of that shit. I get it. I was there for it. Easter's kind of cool, but then again, it gets really religious-y. And then super churches kind of defile Christianity left and right with their size, because Lord knows he doesn't want you preaching in a fucking stadium. But they do it because God gave him that money. God gave him that blessing. God gave them everything they needed to build that mega church. Thank you, Jesus. Sometimes you're just born with what you got, man. There's no God in it or any of that. My belief has always been you got what you got, and God helps out when he can, but he doesn't get involved in everything. You still have to do a lot of the work. He can give you a little push, sprinkle a little, happiness on it, but it's really up to you to do what you got to do. I've always been somebody who, for the most part, has taken responsibility for things I do all the time. And just go, yeah, I did that. And where I am in life is based on my decisions, not God's, not anyone else's. But it just feels like we're in a society now where it's like we can't do that. It's always someone else's fault for why I am the way I am. And then we also have this, I live my own truth and I am who I am. I do what I want. I'm just matching energy. I'm just living my truth. Like, whose fucking truth? Like, your truth, dog. Like, just because it's your truth doesn't mean it's the truth. And that's another problem. We live in a place where we don't agree on truth. We don't agree on truth at all. Everyone's coming after Joe Rogan. And it's like, dude, like, he's a podcaster. He's a comedian, dude. Like, what? If you're looking at him to have the same fucking level as fucking the news, it's a problem. Neil Young found that out real fucking quick. And, like, kudos to Neil Young for even trying. Like, oh, I want my music off Spotify. You gotta pick me or Rogan. It's like, yeah, listen, bruh. If you're cool with Apple Music, you're cool with child slavery for phones. So I don't think you necessarily have the high horse to be talking about Joe Rogan. I don't think a lot of these guys have a high horse to sit on. And this is what I think about sitting here in a snowstorm. Just nowhere to go. Hanging out. There has to come a point where we agree on what reality is. And I don't know what that point is. I don't. I just know I can only do what's best for myself and everyone else that I know. But one thing I won't live in is nostalgia. Yesteryear. You gotta release that shit. I didn't have a childhood. Who fucking cares, dude? It's over. Your time to have one came and went. Sorry. You gotta move forward. I never had this toy as a kid. I don't care. You're collect it. Put it in a fucking storage facility. But don't put it up in your apartment. It's weird, dude. I know way too many people who have too many childish things in their apartment. I'm like, what is this, a fucking pedophile cave? This is fucking bizarre. I think more recently I've just embraced my age. Like, I'm 30-something years old now. And there's a lot I wish I would have accomplished before then, but I hadn't. And now I'm trying to do those things, the show being one of them. Sorry if this episode is a downer. A blizzard will do that to you. Next week will be funnier, I promise. I'll do my best to be in a better mood for next week. But I have finished reading Devil's Chessboard, and I will be doing an episode of Alan Dulles. Now, I'll be honest with you, it might need to be 2 episodes. That might be a huge 2-parter. And it will be something new. It will be something new I haven't tried before. To really nail down one topic for about an hour each and just go through someone's life, hit you with the facts, throw some graphics, some audio, some video. We're trying new things here because I want to do new things now. I want to explore a space that I haven't been in. Educator. I never done that before. A good friend of mine once said I would have been a good history teacher. I'm like, yeah, I would have enjoyed that. But I am where I am. You know, I've been saying this a lot lately. Plastic surgery can't cover up liver disease. And I've been saying that because I feel like a lot of people are putting up brave faces, even though inside they're fucking miserable. I don't feel that way. I don't feel miserable. I feel pretty content, actually. I actually feel pretty hopeful for the future. Like, I see a good future for me. I see a good future for a lot of people. Even if they don't see it. I see society getting better, too. This is the dark time, man. We're in the in-between. Between two generations who are deciding what the future is. And that's okay. And it's going to be okay. Unless World War III starts. And that could be a problem. But man, what a long-awaited sequel that would be. Talk about nostalgia. We'll be going right back, baby. The franchise is open again. I wonder if America will be the good guys this time. Maybe. China and Russia are a formidable duo to be at war with. And who do we got? The Brits? No offense to our British fans, because we do have some. I don't know, man. Matter of fact, you tell me, Brits. You hit me up on Instagram. This will end in darkness. You tell me if you guys are ready for World War III. I mean, I guess we can rely on France. They can make baguettes and feed everybody. Baggy. Australia, maybe? Maybe Australia? They are our fellow nation of criminals. Maybe we get them involved. But who knows, my friends? Who knows? I hope you've been listening with a coffee or hot cocoa. As you also, maybe if you're on the East Coast, brave the bomb cyclone. But this is where we are. Hiding out from a snowstorm. Hiding out from World War III. Hiding out from reality. We have to get comfortable with the phrase, that time was a good time, and that was the best it was. That was the best it was going to get. Because the past is a very nice time to look back at. And it gives you something to aim for. It gives you something to go, hey, if it was this good once, maybe my future can get good again. But you're not going to do that if you're still living in the past. You know, there are adults who like older than me who have social media and they pretend to be teenagers. They're subtweeting one another, or they're like putting up posts to anger one another. And it's like, dude, grow the fuck up. You're like 54. It's done. Like this mean girl bully shit, both genders, they all fucking do it. It's like annoying. Because none of them left high school. None of them realized it was over. It ended at some point. Some people didn't leave high school so much that they ended up working at high schools. And they still act like they're in high school. Bug the fuck out. I know dudes who do that to this day. I know a friend of mine who's a high school teacher now. And I'm like, he shouldn't have become one. Because he's still in that high school mindset. I don't know if I would call him a friend of mine, actually. He's more of an acquaintance, a person I know. because I'm a little afraid of what he's been up to. I can't prove anything, but I'm a little afraid. Let's put it that way. But in a lot of ways, some people just don't grow out of the past. And I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm done with my past. I'm done with my childhood. I'm done with all that shit. I want to build a bright future. Like, I know when I have my kid, maybe I'll show him some stuff from my child. Oh, look at Star Wars. Look at that. Like, I'll show them some of that stuff, but I kind of want them to find stuff they like that's new. What's the new thing? I'm always looking for the new thing. You know what I mean? Like, I always want to know what's the next franchise that's popping off. What's the next story being told that I haven't heard yet? Because it means progress, and progress is good. But unless we're able to face that we all die someday, and we can come to terms with it and accept it, we're not going to get any further. We keep acting like we're going to live forever with the petty squabbles. Like, I learned that about that. Like, a lot of powerful dudes, they think they're going to live forever. You know, like Alan Dulles didn't see that his death was going to come that fast. In his 70s, he was keeping up a schedule that was like he was a young man, visiting CIA friends, going to constant dinner parties, 2 a night sometimes. Like, bro, you don't even have that energy anymore. But some people are like, I don't want to lose that youthful energy. You don't have to, but you have to target it in different areas. Like your family, bruh. Your loved ones, the people that love you the most. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. If this podcast is my suicide note, at least you know. At least you know. It was the nostalgia that killed me. No, like, I always joke how this podcast is like my 13 reasons why. Like, when I finally go, they'll pull them all together going, what was he trying to tell us? Absolutely nothing. Just letting my thoughts fly, dude. Letting my thoughts fly. But I didn't want to leave you guys without an episode this week. Even though it's snowing out and there's no studio, and I didn't want to leave you alone. Wanted you to have something to listen to at least. An hour of content you can use to get through the day. So there's that. But yeah, man, it's time to move on. Enough with the Boba Fett. Enough with Star Wars and the Marvels and the DCs, all of it. Enjoy it for what it is, candy. As I said earlier. Candy is fine, but you gotta have some other meals in between. Learn something. Honestly, history's kind of fire. Read some books, bruh. Write a book. Imagine things of your own. Meditate. Go to the gym. Skateboard. Ride bikes. Draw. Find fulfillment in your own creation. And you don't have to necessarily be a creator. You can find fulfillment in a lot of things. Like if you're into gardening, that's fire. If you're into fixing cars, that's fire, bro. Dedicate time to that. But you gotta get free. You gotta get free. Go on walks. Walks are actually good for your brain. I read that the other day. It helps stop memory loss. So go on walks. Experience the world. With that being said, I think we all know how this is going to end. But what you do before it ends is up to you.